All right, this is the doe that I did the co-breeding with. She's not due till the 4th. Today's the 1st. I gave her the box yesterday and she's already pulling fur, so I don't know if we will have babies early or not. Okay, this is Willow's litter. There was only 3 of them. They are 5 weeks old now, so this is just the first look of how they end up typically turning out. Here's the difference. She is not cooperating because I got her to not look like that. You can tell because she's pulling up here, but this is just flattening right out. If I had not gotten her to not sit like this before, I would ignore this, but she's just not cooperating at the moment. Also, excuse my son throwing rocks into the wheelbarrow. Gotta do what you gotta do. Oh, okay. I got her sit right there. Okay. Now, her parents are both not long. So that is partially what I'm basing my knowledge off of, is that there's no reason, if she's got some goofy shape, it's not likely. There we go. Okay. I will say, right now, she could fill out a little bit more right here by the looks of this. But with her being only 5 weeks, she could easily fill out over there. So what I would do is once these guys are 5 to 6 weeks old, I will probably at least remove them from mama's cage so that there's less competing for food. Oh, right there. This is why I'll also flip them back and forth, is because sometimes they'll cooperate with one angle better than the other. Also with her white, it's also making her shoulders look a little different. Let me move her a little bit closer. Let's see. So that's really nice. Okay, so I'm doing this one-handed, but this is how wide she is. I mean, both parents are super wide, and so I really expect her to keep that. So anyways, she's definitely gonna stay for a little while, and we will just see how she turns out. I really like, right now her head is nice and wide, which kind of is a surprise because both of her parents, her dad's is nice and wide, but her mom is not. They both are, their crowns are pinched, so she doesn't look as pinched as they are. So by pinched, I mean the crown opening, the crown top is inward a little bit more than it should be. She's a little bit inward, but really for her age, she does look nice. I think her crown's back further than it should be, but we're just gonna watch her and see how she goes. There we go. All right, this little girl she's turning out to be really nice and typey, but she right now is 4 ounces less than her siblings. She just got a slow start. She's kept weight. She's not gone skinny at all, but she's just smaller. So I am letting her go for much less than usual just because she may not make weight. I don't know. You see my fingers? She has a really nice head. I really do like that. The only thing with her crown, you can see the ears do point forward. So it's probably going to be further back, just like her dad is probably. But we're a pretty girl, huh? Yeah. I don't know. She's an eye catcher even for being a little girl. We're just gonna be petite. He flattens off a little bit right here. I think he will turn out to be a pretty nice buck either way, but otherwise he's a cute little guy. I think his dad has the potential to be a little bit pinched in the ears, so he could bring that along with him. But we've got a lot of nice width and depth. You can see how his ears do come forward a little bit, so I'm betting his crown will probably be like his parents. But when you're showing, that is one of the lower things on the totem pole, so but I think we'll turn into a pretty nice buck. All right, this little guy is about ready to head out on his way to his new home this weekend, and I wanted to go over what the process looks like when a rabbit leaves as far as what I do on this end. You don't see it, and so that helps you know what the process looks like and why some of the things that I do ahead of time helps with the transition to their new home. I let them go significantly earlier than they are able to leave, or allow them to have deposits placed on them so that I can prep them ahead of time. Rather than you just being like, I want this one, you can come and get it whenever, that allows me the time to transition them. So with all that said, let's just pretend this 10-week-old is about 5 or 6 weeks old and someone has placed a deposit on him. So after that is done and they choose the one that they want, that person is given a link to a calendar that shows all the pickup dates and times and all of that, and then they can schedule it. So it keeps us from having to go back and forth and just go like, well, this time doesn't work for me and I got this going on. You can see all the times when I'm available to come and pick them up and pick the one that works the best for you. Once that is scheduled, when I see that rabbits are leaving, I follow them in order and then separate each rabbit out on its own in its own pen so it can learn to live either without mama if they haven't been removed from her pen yet, or that way I can separate them from their litter mates so that they're not having to learn to live without them, which they start to squabble a little bit after about 9 to 10 weeks anyways. No, he's done. So they start to squabble with each other right around 10 to 12 weeks anyways, most litter mates for the most part. So in that case, if they are still here, I do my very best to have them separated on their own by then. But having them separated ahead of time allows them to not have to get used to living without their litter mates if they're still with them. It helps them not have to learn to live if mama's not with them. Every rabbit leaves with their ID number tattooed in their left ear. So that way, even if you are not showing, which that is typically a show rabbit thing, if it's just a pet, you don't need it. But if they end up getting stolen or something like that, most people, especially with a lap rabbit, when their ears aren't up, you can't see it. People don't know it's there. So you can go, hey, I've got the paperwork, I got the pedigree with the ID number on it. You can prove easily that it's yours. The day that they leave, I get them out, check them over, groom them. They also, with that, his fur is a little bit more woolly, but that's just his baby fuzz. And so stuff on the bottom can get a little bit stuck on it. So I trimmed that. But once they're transitioned into the typical coat of a French Lop is more like cat-like fur, and so that doesn't really have any issues. You get 2 to 3 sandwich bags full of the feed that I feed. Now the reason for that is that helps them get used to what you're feeding them. So typically the day that you get them, I recommend that you give them the food that I give you for that day, don't change it, and then take that amount and mix whatever you're giving them half and half until the feed I give you is gone. So I give you a full amount that typically is enough to feed them on about 5 days. So that should stretch out to almost 10 days to where you're just mixing it. He's gonna bump the camera again. You're just mixing it and learn to get used to the food that you are feeding them. I do not recommend giving them fruits and veggies for the first week, or a pellet like hay or a straw. You make sure that is extremely dry. I don't feed hay anyways, and so that's a video for another time. But the reasons for it, giving them something that they're not used to can really cause issues, especially when they're traveling and all of that. Okay, so I hope that explains at least what happens a little bit more on the day that they leave. All right, Dahlia has had her litter. This is the co-breeding that I did. She had 4 as of this morning when I checked on her around 6:30. She had 2 like kind of separate and another 2 in another spot that were under the fur. So thankfully they were all still warm, and it's a decently warm day. It's like 75 right now. So they're okay, but I'm gonna pull the nest box out now and get them out and so we can look at them. Okay, Mama is a chestnut and Daddy is a solid cream. There actually is a nice variety of colors. But this one the mom has a blue chin sister. So considering that this one has a light belly, it could be an opal, it could be a chinchilla. We'll just have to see. This one could be a chestnut, it could be a chinchilla as well. But these are going to be a little bit different. They could be torts or they could just be creams, because Daddy is a cream, and there is typically some shading, but I'm guessing as red as this one is, it's potentially a tort, because it's right along the edge and on the top of the feet. And then the belly is a lighter color. So we'll just have to wait and see. This one looks, I know you guys are just so frustrated. This one's probably the same deal there. I don't think they're creams. They're too red for that. They could be a fawn, but because fawns can be a little bit smutty and have some shading, but I'm thinking we're looking at torts here possibly, so that'll be interesting. Looking to get a French Lop rabbit, you can find all the details as far as the links in the description, but since you're still here, let me explain how it works. You can choose to pick something and wait just to see what comes available on the for sale page, or you can get on the wait list, which is $75 to do so, and that $75 is applied to the total of the rabbit that you choose, whatever the pricing may be. When you're on the wait list, you get first priority as far as the order of which you all came in on the list. So the other bonus for that is if you're looking for something in particular, a buck, a doe, a certain color, driving distance. I don't have a problem using a transport as long as you set it up and they are able to come here to pick them up. If they are going very long distance, like across the country, we can hold off and keep them until about 10 weeks rather than the 8 weeks. As far as when the kits come available, I usually start evaluating around 5 weeks old and decide the first couple that are able to leave at 8 weeks, which those typically will be priced around $150 to $175. Most of the time there is nothing wrong with them, it's just I can't keep all of them and grow them out to see which ones will be good show prospects. So the ones that just don't make that first cut, they get to go soonest, and then right around 10 to 12 weeks, I'll do another evaluation and see who I want to keep even longer, and potentially the ones that keep it to phase 3 are the ones I'm looking at to grow my herd itself. So those are going to be the best prospects, and those typically are going to be let go around 4 to 6 months old. The price phases of each phase is, like I said, about $150 to $175 for that first phase. Phase 2 is about anything above $175 to $200, and then $200 to $250. Everything comes with a pedigree and an ID number tattooed in their left ear, so they are ready to show. If there are things that maybe I don't think is desirable about them or anything like that, I'm completely willing to tell you that. We can talk about it through email or DM. And if you are just wanting one as a pet, that is completely fine. You don't have to show them. You just have a great quality animal that is a great pet.